Hello, bonjour, Annie, hola. My name is Garrett Ryan, and I'm with Artist Relations here at Fringe North this season. I'm very happy to be back here on our live Fringe North roundtable, which we do every Thursday evening at 6:30. Today, I'm really excited to be joining you from the lovely province of Prince Edward Island. I'm currently recording out of a hotel room in Charlottetown, and I am here right now at the Island Fringe Festival. I'm very excited to be checking in from Charlottetown. I am touring a show here, and I thought this would be a fantastic opportunity to come on here, talk a little bit about what other fringes are looking like and what other fringes are doing, how that is comparable with some of the work that Fringe North is doing, and talk a little bit from the artist's perspective as well about what goes into touring a show, especially for very low budget artists like what we're working with, how to scrape together the cash to get over to a different province and perform some work. So we're really excited to be talking about all of that today. And I am so happy to be joined here by a fellow member of my team from the show, from Bird on Stage, my company that we are. He's joining us for the Island Festival in the inevitable Frankie Green, which will be also showing at Fringe North in the digital festival this season. But Robert right now is actually over downtown, a little bit about 20-30 minutes away from me, and he is going to pop on and show us a little bit of where we're performing and the kind of venues that we're working with here. So Robert, you want to introduce yourself and tell about where you are?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Hi, Fringe North. My name is Robert Leitner, pronounce he, him. I'm with Bird on Stage. And actually, just right now, I'm actually just at the Carriage House. We will be performing Inevitable Frankie Green tonight, actually. It's a beautiful property. It's connected to also what is called the Beaconsfield House. It is a giant historical house that got converted. This space got converted into kind of a meeting hall, stage area. They have tours here. There's so much to do, even in just this little place. You know, it's also so adaptable enough that you're able to do a whole show in here, right? So what I can do is just show you some of the little things around, but we can get more into the conversation. Just right here, I have this little nice walkway here, as well as when you get to over here, you have a beautiful view of the ocean. There's some nice thing all over here, some benches. You can see all the people around here also wanting to do their do some of their explorations and tours and stuff. So yeah, just here from the Carriage House, excited to be here and excited to talk.
Great, awesome. Yeah, if you want to find somewhere to sit, and we can chat a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
I got a spot. We good. I'll find
something that's so exciting about well, any Fringe festival really, but I think especially some of these smaller festivals, and I think that this is what's really comparable between a festival like Island Fringe in Charlottetown and like Fringe North in Sault Ste. Marie, is that these are festivals that are taking place in smaller cities, and they're really, really community focused. And that means the venues themselves are really integrated within sort of the heart of the community. For an interesting kind of commonality that I see with Fringe North and with Island Fringe is that both are situating themselves within very historic buildings that are very integrated within the heart of their respective cities. We have Fringe North this season. Our live performances will be in the Sault Ste. Marie Museum, which, if I'm remembering the exact year, I believe it opened in 1901 or 1902, right? A long time ago anyway. And it was originally a post office in kind of the heart of the downtown core of Sault Ste. Marie. And it's since become a historical landmark and a museum. And we're so privileged to be performing there. And, you know, I'm finding the same thing. We've only been in PEI since Monday now.
Mhm.
And I'm noticing the same kind of similarities performing in this very beautiful, beautiful historical place right on the ocean. It's very integrated in the same way into the heart of Charlottetown. I was wondering for you, what was your experience when we first kind of showed up at the venue here?
Yeah, just a fun little tidbit. I was actually, because I was here a little bit earlier, I was talking to some of the people that are like locals and stuff, and I asked like, how old would you say the building is? I should have looked it up, but I was curious, right? And one of those guys named Peter said to me that the building's just as old as the red dirt.
Hmm.
So it's awesome. One of my first reactions, it was funny because we originally kind of got a little lost because we weren't sure which one was which. But once we went in, it was honestly like something I've never really performed in, seen before. It
Yeah.
all wooden, it has this really nice large space. Like I've yet to see a fringe space with that much room. It felt just really like in tune with the show that we're doing, everything. The building itself is awesome. It's AC, which is a very big plus, right? So no, I had a wonderful reaction. Everyone working there has been great. Speaking on your community focus and how it all seems really built into the community, it was funny during our tech. We actually had coming in because so for tours and stuff, they have restrooms that are open for the public. So throughout our tech, we had people like coming in wanting to use the restrooms and stuff. So hopefully they saw the show and will want to check it out a little bit, right?
Yeah, we get some free promo. You cut out at just the very beginning of that, but just to
Oh, sorry.
reiterate, when we were in our tech run, we had people coming in and out asking for the washroom constantly because we're in the kind of the heart of the tourist area of Charlottetown, right on the water. But yeah, like you're saying, hopefully that will draw some people. We actually,
Yeah.
a funny little anecdote. They had to close the door of our tech run because we were scaring the tourists with our very loud show. So I actually remember another similarity with the first year that we did that our company did Fringe North. I remember we had to turn down all our tech equipment. So we were doing a show about rock music, and it was very loud, and we were like next to it, another venue, and we had to turn down all our equipment. We were also being too loud. So maybe that's a problem. Is we keep
It's a
doing
bird on, yeah.
shows.
It's a bird on stage thing. We're too loud. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's you're right. It's one of the things that I love so much about fringe festivals in general is the way that they are able to integrate theater into these buildings. Like
Yeah.
you said, we're in something that I've never really performed in. Like
Yeah.
it's an old carriage house. So
Yeah. Like
yeah,
it used to store like everything, like things on the water. Like you can see just from like over, if you're back more towards the water, like I'm sure they have stored boats here. There are full blown like things to put canoes on. Like
yeah,
this has just fully become a part of, so integrated into the entire city theater, everything about it. Like it's locals coming in and out, it's tourists coming in and out, artists coming in and out. It's kind of a beautiful thing, and I'm sure like all fringes, Fringe North has the same thing, especially with it being in a museum as well.
yeah. I remember that first year we were at Fringe North. I think we were in like an old building. We were in the Windsor Park or something. It was the
Mm.
lobby of a building downtown. Um, and that was a really cool space. That was a great space. It looked like a lobby of a like apartment building or whatever it was, or office building. I don't exactly know what it was used for at the time or in the past.
Hmm.
But it was, I think it had like maybe even like a chandelier and stuff. Like it was the
Yeah.
way that these communities that don't have a lot of like studio spaces are able to just
Hmm.
find these random places and make them so perfect for shows.
Yeah, it's like the other venues for the Island Fringe are like, one's called the Haviland Club, which that building is like an old, looks like an old house that was just converted into this space. Like there's a bar in there right now. It's just the way that like the Salvador Dali Cafe is another venue here. Like all these spaces have so much historical uh importance in the city that are just endlessly, obviously people coming in and out, right? Like the Island Fringe, all these fringes have such, because when you can mix like historical with the like new artistry. It's always a really beautiful blend.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel even at a festival that uses a more traditional theater space, like we look at where the next festival we are going to in person is in North Bay at the On the Edge
Hmm.
Fringe. They use a theater. It's first of all, it's a historical theater, so we have that aspect of it as
Yeah.
well. But they repurpose. They use the stage of the theater, but they also use other rooms all over the theater. Um,
Hmm.
and it's great. There's like an art gallery, there's a basement, there's like a lounge upstairs, and all of them are very unique little spaces
Hmm.
that
And that's another thing that I feel like is really awesome with Fringes, that you utilize like unconventional spaces, is that you kind of blend in with the space. Like it really a lot of the time elevates the show. Like
Mhm.
having this space with all this wood and stuff, right? Even on the other side, if we were like in the Haviland, the contrast of like what is the difference between like what does it mean to perform in like a very wooden space compared to like an old kind of mansion, you know?
Yeah, our space, like you said, looks like a kind of,
Like a small town hall.
yeah, like a place you'd have like a square dance,
Yeah, yeah,
like that kind
yeah.
of vibe. And then you go to the Haviland Club, it's like a mansion, like a very rich,
Yeah,
like
old.
don't touch anything because it's all 100 years old and worth $1
Yeah,
million.
chandeliers. Yeah, I sat and it was funny when we were there last night. I sat in a chair and someone mentioned to me like, you know, that chair is probably 4 times as old as you. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm sitting in a 100-year-old chair.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So I love that aspect of these smaller fringe. But to be honest, I actually don't know what the community integration looks like on a production level with something like Toronto Fringe or
mhm.
Edmonton Fringe. I would hope, and I think that they have that same community integration, but it's different because they like that kind of tight knit community can't really sustain itself in a bigger
Yeah,
city like that. It's like there's a tight knit theater community, but it doesn't tie into the rest of the community in the same way
yeah.
that's like a Sault Ste. Marie festival does, or a Charlottetown, or a North
That's
Bay.
what I was. Yeah, I was gonna say like that's what makes a lot of these like smaller fringes
Hmm.
so special. They're
Yeah,
right. There's so much to it. It's not just a performance. Like it's not just we are doing a show. It's we are doing a show. We are going to meet the people who are coming to see the show. We're gonna go out and have drinks with them after. You know, it's so much more than just I'm coming to see a show or I'm going to perform in a festival. You're here to integrate and to like live the life. You know, it's really special.
yeah. So I guess jumping back a little bit, let's go back a few months, and I think this is a great conversation for us to have for any artists listening, for any prospective artists, for anyone who is interested in bringing a show across the country. And let's just have that conversation a little bit
Yeah.
about how it took, or what it took rather, to get us to this place where we're
Yeah.
sitting in Charlottetown right now. Let's start. Let's go back a few months. And I'm gonna facilitate these questions a little bit. Obviously, I was also involved in this process, bouncing off you a little bit more, just
Yeah.
for the sake of the format. Um, go back a few months. What the first reaction for you when we heard we got into a festival a few provinces east?
I was kind of blown away. I remember getting the email. I was actually on the subway, and right when I exited the subway or like came out like where it goes above ground, the email popped up, and I think I remember I texted you like, "Huh?" Like like we got into Island Fringe, and then all the other blocks kept falling. It was what was really interesting was because I was ecstatic, to be honest with you. I was blown away, but at the same time, you kind of have to think a little realistically. Like it came down like we had a lot of conversations about like, is this something we can do? Like, how do we approach this? Like, we're either driving or flying. And either way, it's expensive. So I
know
think
that
that's
it's
what a lot
like
of it.
the really heightened gas prices and stuff as well. So
Yeah, exactly. Like there was so much to it, like having to, because as an artist, right, you just wanna go. You wanna say yes, right? Like we also got into the fundy fringe, but it was, you just wanna say yes to everything.
mhm.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to look and start thinking a little bit more realistically and a bit more objectively, rather than letting your heart take you across the country.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to find that balance between that. You're right, that artist sensibility of I just want to let's just get out there and
Yeah,
do it, and then the realistic voice that says you have no money to do that.
yeah,
How are you
you're
supposed to get-"
poor. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The same thing where I'm sure we would at a heartbeat accept an offer to go to like Edinburgh Fringe,
Oh, yeah, 100%, right?
and then it's like the hangover the next day of like
Yeah, yeah,
what did
it's
we
that
just
hype.
do?
Yeah, you text everyone, you text your family, you text your friends, like, "We're going to Edinburgh." And then next thing you know,
Wait, how?
yeah, wait, are we
No, wait,
walking there? Like, is
we
that
have to fly there. We have to figure out somewhere to stay. We have to do all
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah, are we swimming across the ocean to get there? Like, what is the cheapest
Exactly.
way?
Yeah.
No,
So
it's
so yeah. So we got the news. We were excited about it 100%. But
mhm.
then we started having these conversations.
Which
So
which I think is something that like is really important as an artist, to be honest with you. The idea of like human sustainability, right? It's knowing how to approach these things. Like we had long conversations, and when we decided that we were going to do it despite us being broke, that it was that next step, right? Like what do we do? How do we fundraise? What can we do to make sure that this can be as cheap as possible, right? um we've written, one of the big steps we took was writing grants, trying to get travel grants, which are very accessible. They're all on, you need to help me out here. I'm not sure where you find them again.
well, there's a whole lot of them. You can go to, especially for this is an interesting one for Sault Ste. Marie artists listening right now. If you go to the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund, I believe it's called. Let me just look that up to make sure I'm right. Northern Ontario Heritage Fund is a great one. Yes, I'm right, because they have a lot of opportunities and programs for Northern Ontario specific artists, which obviously we fall into.
Yeah.
And the other ones would be Ontario Arts Council, Toronto Arts Council if you're in Toronto, Canada Council for the Arts. Here's the thing, people don't take advantage of these programs, and there are so many. So dig into all of these grants that are available, because there are a lot of travel grants. These granting bodies like art, and they want to make it happen. As much as it seems like they're a bunch of corporate suits that don't necessarily care about like the heart and soul of the art. They are usually, these boards are comprised of artists, and they want to give away money, and they want to make art happen. So I think it's really important to be looking into these granting opportunities in order to you never know, right? You can
Yeah.
apply. It costs nothing to apply to these grants, at least for the most part. None of the grants we applied to cost anything. You only stand to gain, and it's an easy enough to fill out. Yeah.
I think that's the case for like, I'm glad that we're kind of talking about this, because I feel like even me, like a year ago, I had no clue about any of these kind of things, right? It's always been money I have to put up front, which it still is. But like the idea that, there are people that want you to do art, and they are willing to pay your way to go to these places. And I feel like a lot of the times that artists, like I said myself, you kind of don't realize, you kind of forget. And it's a really, really great resource to have.
Yeah. And here's the other thing with that. So on the financial conversation, and this is all conversations that we had about this show and about touring the show. There does come a point where you have to make a decision as to whether or not it is feasible for you to put up your own money to fund the trip. And we had to we had to make that decision to put up a lot of our own money. And it's I don't want to phrase it in a way that it's not a matter of if it's important enough to you or not. Some people just aren't in the financial circumstances to put forward that money. But you do have to make the decision at the end of the day, is that a possibility? Because you can apply to these grants and do apply to these grants. You can send stuff out to sponsors, which we can talk about in a sec as well. But at the end of the day, you kind of need to be prepared. If you're saying yes to a festival like this, and if they're relying on you to come, you need to be prepared for the reality where you have to put up that money to get there. So that's something that just on the front of being realistic, that's something you have to consider.
And but also like on the other end too, like it's okay if you can't. I think a lot of the time a lot of artists are a little worried, like it's okay if you can't. This isn't going to be your only chance, you know. Go out, apply to these grants, to the fringes, all of them. Like the worst that can happen is you don't get in, and then you apply to the next one, right? Like that's what it's always been for us. It's apply, and hope for the best.
I think there's this like romanticized idea of artistry that's very toxic and
unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. There's kind of two sides to this. And I think I talked about one of these things before, the idea that you don't, and this is something that you and I probably both need to learn, but maybe you especially, is that you don't have to put yourself at risk for art to be a good artist. In fact, you shouldn't. You know, there's the idea that like, wow, this actor like almost died doing this role, and that's like a good thing. But in the same way, on the financial side, saying like, he maxed out 5 credit cards to make sure this production happened. That's admirable to an extent, but it's not a requirement to be an artist.
No, and
nor would I recommend doing that.
Yeah, it's like, do we want to see the art? 1000%, yes. But also, like, we also want you to be able to live. We want you to be able to survive, and
because you hear the success stories, but you don't hear as much about the failures, and you know, it's something that you have to be ready for. Like one of the examples, this is in the film world, but I can think of Kevin Smith when he made his first Clerks movie. I think he like bankrupted himself making that movie. It was a hit, but what if it wasn't?
But what if it wasn't?
Exactly. So,
but also it's on another end too.
That's part of the realistic conversation. When you're deciding whether or not to put your own assets up front, be prepared for the reality. We haven't opened the show yet. We don't know people. We could have no one show up. We have to be prepared for the reality that we will not get that money back. So that's the thing that you have to consider.
It's you know, you're putting up all this money. You know, we flew out to PEI, we flew out to Charlottetown. We're here in Island Fringe, but there's no guarantee people are going to come. Right? It's like, but that also, what I was going to say too, it's as I sit here and I'm about to romanticize the life of an artist, but like but that's also kind of what it's about sometimes, just like putting it all out there, which isn't sustainable, but that's what on the other end, right? No, you really have to be ready, and really just kind of checked into your own reality, and like, is this feasible? Is this applicable? You know,
And okay, so one last thing on the financial aspect of things. The what I want to say is also do not be afraid to ask for assistance, because there are people in the same way that grantors do, other people want to make this happen, especially artists. Artists love to help other artists. We are so grateful that we have been put up in an apartment for this whole week that we're here. So we didn't have to spend any money, staying here. And this is like a lot of festivals do this billeting thing, right? So we are very lucky to be billeted. A lot of artists will be billeted. There are a lot of festivals that do that. I think Fringe North has in the past as well, potentially. Yes, they did, because we were billeted in the past. So they absolutely do. So, whether a lot of times they're going to help you find a way to get here, find a place to stay, whether it's you end up in someone's house, whether you end up in an apartment, whether you end up they will try to help you. And
Mhm.
this isn't something that is an expectation that you should go into it, be like, oh, they're going to help me. They're going to do everything for me. But do not be afraid to ask for help because they might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in like in
Don't
I
rely on the kindness.
yeah
But
yeah
but don't be afraid to ask.
yeah, and it's like with every fringe that we've been in, like Fringe North, Island Fringe, on the Edge, they've been nothing but wonderful. They just want to make sure that you get your show up and you get what you want. They want you happy at the end of the day, right? Like that's what the fringe is about, to have these artists and the community and the audience just happy with everything, with the festival, with you, with your show, right? Like it's all about just making everyone happy and doing the art that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So there's the financial aspect of it. Now I want to talk briefly about how do you get a show on a plane? How do you pack up a show on a plane in the province? And I'm gonna pass this to you, especially because you have been really doing the work on the ground here to make sure that that is feasible for us. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about our show specifically and kind of the corners that we were able to cut to
Yeah, sure.
make it here without any checked bags or anything like that.
Of course, yeah. It was a lot, but it was really, it's been rewarding so far, right? Like our show is a very prop heavy show, right? Our set's minimal. It's a table with wheels, which I'll get into that, and chairs, right? So what I've always found, and what especially this year, and kind of like my first time traveling with a show, was knowing what we can bring and knowing what we can't. We can't bring a table on a plane. We can't bring chairs on the plane. So now you got to figure out, like, okay, the people, like, for example, I've been in contact with the admin, the Fringe admin here at Fringe North, and they've sorry, not Fringe North, Island Fringe, and they've been wonderful. And I sent them an email. Hey, we need a table. We need this. We need a table. We need chairs. Like, these are things that we need, and you got to know that stuff early on enough, because you don't want to put yourself in a hole, but also put the other people in a hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give them enough time to also find us a table.
Yeah.
Right. So, and like, a lot of it was like, we figured out the things that we can't bring are a table. We can't bring chairs, and there were certain props that just wouldn't have been able to go through the airport and stuff, which is fine. So when you have a list of all that, you pack everything that you have, all the props that we're able to bring, shoved them in our backpacks and our suitcases, kept them on us. Like, I wore my costume in the airport. You gotta make things work sometimes. And
I have a whole tent stuffed in my
yeah,
yeah.
we had my suitcase in the middle of the summer going to Charlottetown, where it's all ocean. I had a winter coat, a sweater, not even enough stuff to have my own luggage, but that's sometimes what it is, right? I had my own clothes shoved into my backpack. But when we got here, that's when it was really time to kind of put my nose to the grindstone. I had to go get that table, right? We now, like I said earlier, our table has wheels on it. I had to run to Canadian Tire, go buy wheels. I got to go buy nails. Then now you're in the search for a screw. You're in the search for a hammer. But what I found, and what's been wonderful, is just been staying in contact with the people that are there to help you. His name's Mike. Mike has been nothing but wonderful for us, the technical director of the Island Fringe. Been helping us along the way since I first emailed him that first time, right? He's letting us use his table, where I literally less than an hour ago nailed in wheels into this table of his. It's just all this running around, but that's been also kind of one of the most fun parts, to be honest with you, right? Because while I'm out running errands for the show and getting things that we need, I also had time to kind of explore and get to really see the island. I still have a lot more to see, but it goes back to what we were talking about this community thing. There's so much to it, in the same sense that, like, I'm putting myself in. I'm going to the Charlottetown Canadian Tire, which is so different from a Toronto Canadian Tire, a North Bay, a Sault Ste. Marie Canadian Tire. It's, you're immersing yourself in this world, checking out the local shops. You're walking into places asking if they have, like, for example, we had to go find a briefcase that we weren't able to bring on the plane. Going into random shops asking people, hey, where can I find a cheap briefcase? Ended up at Value Village and you find a cane. Yeah, having to run into a Shoppers to go buy a cane for the show. Anywhere you can, but it's specifically talking about like smaller air quotes fringes. It's a lot different, like, than compared to like what I can imagine a Toronto fringe would be like, being in like a bigger town and bigger city, right? I feel like if you're in the bigger city, it's a lot more accessible to get some of these things. But here it was like you kind of have to be prepared, and that's another aspect, right? Is being so prepared that I need to go at this day at this time because I need to grab a table, wheels, I need to go grab a briefcase, I need to go print out posters. It's having all that ready to go is probably by far the most important part, and I think it's turned out well so far. We'll see what happens tonight, right? But
Yeah.
it's been a lot, but like it's also really rewarding, right? And going more to like the other end of like not as much props and stuff, like I've been in contact with her name's Grace Kempinski. She's the artistic executive director of the Island Fringe, and you're just always in that contact of back and forth, like you talked about this billeting thing, right? We contact of billeting, contact of staying in contact for the rating of your show, right? Like it's so much more that is involved with it. With that also, once again, I keep saying it, but it makes it so much more rewarding. Putting in all this effort to be able to like we open tonight. That's wild, right? After all the stuff we've been doing, like we're out in parks running lines where it's so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask well, what was it? Oh, this is my question. Sorry, I lost it for a second. I got it. I wanted to ask as well about because another thing you've been doing is postering. So for anyone that's listening right now that is not from Sault Ste. Marie, or people that are from Sault Ste. Marie, but especially for the people not from Sault Ste. Marie that might be traveling in to do Fringe North this year or in future years, this is our first time here, and we don't know a single person. We know some people now that we've met, but we've been when coming here. So obviously the people that are the locals in Charlottetown are going to have more of an advantage by bringing audiences, in the same way that people in Sault Ste. Marie that are from there, the locals are going to have more of an advantage. So what does it look like so far? And I guess we'll see if it pays off once we actually what is marketing the show in a totally new city looked like so far?
One of my favorite things recently, to be honest with you, has just been kind of, I keep saying it, but kind of just like everyone here is so lovely. Everyone here wants to talk. You just kind of, it always comes up eventually that like, oh, I'm an actor. I'm here for the Fringe Festival. Oh, are you from here? Are you visiting? Are you, not too long ago, I was talking to some people about, the show and seeing to get them to come, but specifically about postering. There are so many spots, like with the place that we're billeting at, right? There's cork boards that we're able to put stuff up on. There's other Fringe shows with posters on there as well. Places downtown, like the downtown area here has things at every corner, to be honest with you, postered up, like just really getting that word out. You want to get your face out there as much as you can. Make a bright poster, not a bright poster necessarily, but make a poster that pops, something that you think will really catch the eye of the people around, and get postering just as many as you can, to be honest with you. I know with this year, there was an opportunity that we were able to do some sort of radio promo. Like the people, it goes back to what I said earlier, the people here want to help. Like fringes, like everyone loves a fringe, especially in the cities that have a fringe, right? Like people want to hear about the shows. Like another thing that happened yesterday was we had like our meet and greet. We had a show pitch night, right? Like there's things like that also the festivals can also help to promote. Instagrams, getting that social media out, which is also really hard for like us. For example, we don't know we're sold out in PEI.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like use your social media to get these, what's the word I'm looking for, to get the like word out. But being in being in contact with these like the Island Fringe social media, they've been sharing stuff. All of our posters, they've posted about us, just really doing their part too, and making sure that we can get an audience and just people know at least about the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So for Fringe.
Also, sorry, may I?
Yeah.
May I
Go.
add? Yeah. Another thing that's been like, we did it in North Bay. We've done it here. I wasn't there with you when y'all were in the Sioux, but like you guys did in the Sioux.
Yeah.
Just ask shops.
Yeah.
Go in, ask places, local places especially. Like it's harder to do with more of the like chain stores, but there are so many local shops here that just have posters for fringe shows, like out of province fringe shows too. People coming from Toronto with us, people coming from out in Edmonton.
Yeah.
There's posters of their shows in these like tiny local shops, right? Like there's so much you can do.
I think the only posters I am seeing are for out of towners right now.
Yeah, they're lucky. The people from PI, they don't got to do it. But no, it's like like I said, it's everyone's doing it. It's, don't think you're weird if you want to go up and poster. Like probably after we get off this call, I'm gonna go and hang up some more posters. That's the plan. It's just about doing the best to also be proud of your own work, and being proud enough, like putting the posters up, like just being proud of your work and not being afraid to show it, I think has been like a really, really important thing for us this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to add that. So when we first came to Fringe North, we did the same thing. We went into a whole bunch of shops on Queen Street and just went in and said, "Hi, we're not from here. Can we go hang a poster?" And a lot of them said yes. So, and if they said no, they weren't mean about it. So don't be scared of the rejection. I like this.
Yeah.
Go.
My butt hurts, to be honest with you. I've been sitting on wood, so a little angle change.
So that's definitely a thing. And then the other thing we did in the Sioux when we came is we went to the pavilion area near the water and just handed people little flyers, talked about the show, went up to locals and said, "Hey, do you want to go to the show tonight? Come by. We're over here."
Yeah, that's been honestly one of my favorite parts too, is just like walking down the street, just like, "Hey, how are you?" And they talk, and then randomly you get talking, right? And it's not being afraid to also put yourself out there is such a really important thing too, which is a big for someone like I've always struggled with that, that putting yourself out there and being like, "Come see our show," right? Like there's so much you can do, like apps, social media. A little funny one is like changing your bio on your dating app to say to come see a show, right? Like these things that just anything you can do has been honestly one of the more important things for us here.
Yeah. So and for Fringe North, we are still looking for artist takeovers. If an artist is watching that hasn't signed up for an artist takeover on our social media, do that as soon as possible, because that's going to reach more locals in the and as well, just another way to promote is to attend the events that the festival is putting on.
Yeah.
So attend other shows, for here we have a trivia night that we're going to tonight, things like that. Just like make your presence known, connect with people, and it's going to create this ripple effect. You're going to have your presence reach out to
it'll show. That's the thing, right? Is if you're the group that's quiet sitting in the corner, it might be successful, I'm not sure, but like there's a difference when you're going out and you're talking to the other shows, to the people that are coming to see the shows too, right? Like even if they've seen your show, make that connection, because maybe they'll come again, maybe they liked it enough, right? Another thing too that I've really found has been also promoting the other shows. Like promote the people that you're performing with, the other shows in the festival, because they're doing it for you, you want to do it for them, and then also like creates like good connections, right? That's what you want in a fringe festival, is the artists to all integrate. You want the audience members to be having just as much fun, right? You want everyone to feel like they're just as important, and that's really what it's about. Yeah,
absolutely. So just looking at the time, we should wrap up shortly. But I want to just, do you have any last bit of advice that you have for people considering traveling or people that will be traveling to somewhere like Fringe North this summer?
Yeah. The only really advice, I mean, like we said earlier, if it's something you can do it. It's been, I love it here. I'm in love. To be honest with you, and I can't wait to go all over. Come to Fringe North. It's all of it. Just do it. I think is another one of those things. But be sustainable. Be smart. Be healthy. You don't put yourself into a hole that you can't get out of. But if you can, do it. And the other advice is talk to people. Ask. It's really just asking. Like that's been mostly like you said. I've been doing a lot more of the like grunt work with this show. Ask. People are here to help. People are here to talk. People are here to make your show happen. So yeah.
Definitely, if you're involved in Fringe North, it's the person to reach out to is me. So
yes.
I want to make your show the best it can be. I want to help you in any way I can. Even if you think something is completely unrealistic, it might be, but talk to me, then we'll know for sure.
Think about our show. We literally were like, so how do we get a table with wheels that needs to spin, but also be this and that and this?
Yeah, exactly. We want to make these shows happen. Of course, there are things that are going to be unreasonable, but I would encourage people to reach out regardless, and we'll see what we can do. That's why I'm here. That's what I love to do is make these shows the best they can be. Yeah, great. I guess if you want to, we can end off. Hey, if anyone is in PEI, we will give our times. I don't know if you have them up on you.
We will be performing the showtimes that we have. I'll just quick little water walk again. We will be performing tonight at the Carriage House at 8 o'clock. Doors and loading up will start to happen at 7:45. We will be performing tomorrow. Carriage House again at 6:30. We will be going on Saturday, same place, 6:30, and then our final night will be here on Sunday at 7:45 once again.
Great, and that is the length of the festival as well. I believe it's
it's the 4 days.
Opening was technically yesterday, but we didn't have any shows yesterday. And then there's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and potentially something happening on Monday, but I'm a little not sure about that.
Yeah.
If you're in PEI, aim for the
come see the show.
It is Sunday.
Come see all the shows. Come
see all the shows. Come see.
Great. The people here, all the shows, all the people involved with the shows are wonderful people. I've spoken to all of them. We both have spoken to all of them. They've been nothing but great to us. It's been such a warm welcome here. And I'm sure it'll be the same at Fringe North as well. I have no doubt. It is a warm welcome. I know from experience. So
you still have time. If you're in the Sault Ste. Marie right now and start driving tonight, you
can catch it. Yeah.
Catch the show. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here, Robert.
Of course.
That's great. So happy to have this conversation. And by the way, we're also, if you want to chat with us, you can reach out to us on our Bird on Stage social media, or feel free to send me an email at my artistrelationsfringenorth@gmail.com if you have any more questions about touring your show. We'd love to.
Yeah, if you have any questions, on my end, you can hit me up at my Facebook is just Robert Leitner. My Instagram is robbie.leitner. I'm more than happy to talk. That's what this is about. That's why I'm here right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you, even if you're like a digital artist or someone who is just a fan of Fringe North and are considering potentially traveling to Fringe North or anywhere else in the future, reach out to me. I'd love to chat. So we want to make shows happen. So just to end it off, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Merci, miguel gracias. And just a reminder that Fringe North 2022 will be from August 18th to the 21st. And tickets are going to be on sale in just a few days on August 1st. We're working day and night to get this ticket launch secured for all you lovely folks. It's going to be fantastic. And you can get tickets from our brand new website at soufringe.com. So check that out, and also all of our social media channels. and that's going to be in the description below, and you can get more information on tickets and anything else you'd like to know about our festival. Additionally, you can keep your eye out on our social media for our exciting Fringe Fledgling Challenge. If you want a fun thing to get involved with to help get your name out there and promote the festival and promote your show, check out the Fringe North Fledgling. It's a large stuffed bird, our mascot, that is making its way around the zoo as we speak. I'm actually not sure where they are right now, and I can't tell you anyway, it's a secret. So and if you are able to find them, you can win some very exciting prizes, including potentially some free tickets to some shows at Fringe North. If you would love to support the work that we are doing here at Fringe North, you can consider tipping the festival, tipping the Fringe. You can find that information on our website, or you can find it in the description below. And we will be back next Thursday. I will be back in Ontario, unfortunately, next Thursday for another exciting live stream. And we can't wait to see you then. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Thanks once again, Robert.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm always happy to be here and talk, and I love it. I love this. I love Fringe North. I do.
Hey, thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a good night.